Could you give me an overview of your responsibilities at Frazer Jones?
Yeah, of course. So basically, my name is Nick Arnold. I lead our HR tech and analytics practice at Frazer Jones and also our reward and go mobility practice. So in the reward space, we'll cover roles from your kind of benefits advisor right through to benefits director, total reward roles, reward managers, heads of reward, all levels of global mobility hires. And in the people analytics space, we'll recruit for HR data analysts right through to heads of people analytics. On the tech side, we'll deal with Workday implementation consultants, heads of HRIS, all levels across those areas, basically.
You work across all sectors?
Yeah, all sectors, temp and perm, and actually, historically, we've done a lot on the permanent side in those areas, but in recent years, we've really seen the interim market really booming. We've actually experienced record-breaking months over Q1 with our interim workers out there. So yeah, really positive from that front. And I think we've seen a bit of a shift in the market on the interim side with IR35 coming out. It kind of dampened the market a little bit. But actually, I think we've seen a slight change in behaviours of our clients being a little bit more, I guess, warms the idea of tackling IR35 and taking on limited company workers if obviously the nature of the role allows it. So yeah, certainly for this time of year where we don't normally have as many interim roles, it's been really successful on that front.
Are there any other market trends that you have noticed?
Yeah, so actually Q1 has been amazing for us. So historically, the reward market's pretty tough in Q1, to be honest. Everyone's locked into year-end activities, processing bonuses, waiting for their own bonuses. So normally they get paid out end of March, April for a lot of businesses. So we see vacancy numbers at their lowest this time of year, but actually we've just experienced a record-breaking Q1, which is absolutely awesome. So yeah, we've registered not a huge amount of, in terms of volume compared to last year. We have seen an uptake in vacancy numbers, which is great, but I think the big difference is there's actually an appetite to hire. Last year was quite sticky in terms of getting through processes. We saw a lot of caution from employers. So processes being put on hold or even cancelled, and that led to a lot of frustration in the market. I think off the back of 22, where salary increases were kind of going through the roof, I think candidates' expectations were maybe still quite high going into 2023, and then couple that with the kind of caution of clients, it became pretty sticky, to be honest, and I think probably some unrealistic expectations on both sides. I think 2023 has been maybe a year of both sides kind of working each other out, and actually now this year it's super positive. I think everyone's kind of maybe on the same page in terms of expectations in the market. Clients are moving through processes more effectively, and yeah, ultimately we're getting to offers much more quickly. And yeah, we've seen our revenue up by about 30% in Q1 compared to last year. So yeah, great start to the year.
And I guess also being a kind of market-leading specialist team, your candidate network must be unparalleled.
I'd like to think so, yeah. I think, I'd be brave enough to say we've got the strongest database and network of contacts in the reward, HR tech and analytics space in the market. And I think, yeah, certainly this year that's allowed us to be quick to present shortlists to clients, and that's helped the processes along as well.
Amazing. Have you noticed any trends in terms of the number of senior roles that you're securing?
To be honest, the senior end of the market, it looks promising for the year ahead. I think that has probably been the slowest area of our markets to get going, but that is down to the timing of the year, to be honest, with, as I said, the year-end activities and the kind of bonus rounds. But I think the promising thing to see is speaking to our network in the market at the senior end, there seems to be a really big appetite and confidence to move in the year ahead. So it hasn't quite got going yet, but I envisage 2024 to be a pretty good year for movement at the top end.
And as you work across all sectors, have you noticed any sectors doing particularly well versus last year? Or what have you noticed in the market?
So in terms of sectors so far this year, commerce and industry has been our lightest, accounting probably about 16% of our vacancies. But it depends on the actual sector within that. So I think some of the big tech companies, there's been less movement, but actually there's been some really exciting movement with some more tech startups in the market. We've seen quite a lot of activity with pharmaceuticals, the medical and The medical device sector, manufacturing sector has been performing really well. But our highest performing sector at the moment this year has probably been the financial services sector. So that's been accounting for about 50% of our vacancies.
Amazing, phenomenal. So talk to me a bit about global mobility.
Yeah, global mobility is really exciting at the moment, actually. So, in terms of different areas of HR, global mobility was massively hit with the pandemic. Obviously, people weren't able to move around, so we saw a lot of redundancies being made, and it was probably the area of HR that took the longest to kind of pick back up again. We saw the kind of junior to mid-market start gathering a bit of pace about a year or so ago. But in the last 6 to 12 months, we've seen real significant growth in the kind of mid to senior end of the global mobility market, which is really promising. I think we've seen a trend of a lot of the consultancies, unfortunately, making a lot of redundancies. The reason being that a lot of companies have started moving their global mobility practices back in-house, which obviously created a lot of vacancies. So yeah, if you're in that space, I think this year should be a really promising year to look for a new role. And the good news for employers is there's going to be a lot of talent in the market that have kind of been sat in their roles for the past 2-3 years that are really hungry to move on to the next challenge.
Exciting times. So I guess the biggest topic on everyone's mind at the moment is tech, analytics, tech transformation. Those who adopt technology faster seem to be on top in terms of their organisation. So talk to me a bit about technology and analytics.
Yeah, so HR tech and analytics, massive passion of mine at the moment. So really exciting times for us, actually. So we've just seen huge growth in that area as businesses are basically trying to adopt better technologies, improve their data capture and integrity to ultimately present better insights to the business to help with decision making, which I think is paramount with kind of rising costs, shrinking margins. So businesses are trying to find ways to be more productive ultimately. But to do that, you really need to be on top of your data so you can get into the detail of what's going on with your company. So to be honest, any good CPO at the moment, analytics, data systems, is top of their agenda. AI is a hot topic at the moment as well. So this year we've actually seen probably about 36% of our vacancies, I think it is, come from the tech and analytics space in HR. So we are going through an exciting transition at the moment. We've actually just launched our new practice, which is a team purely focusing on recruitment into the HR tech and analytics space. So we've always done that. We've got a history of 10 plus years recruiting into those markets, but now we've got a dedicated team that are purely facing off into that space, which means, well, we're kind of more immersed in the candidate pool. We're hosting more events. We're attending more events. So I think we're probably one of the, if not the only agency in the market that actually has a dedicated team for people analytics hires. So yeah, really exciting. I think in the people analytics space in particular, that's a huge growth area. We saw really a lot of firms having professionals that did dual desks where they covered HR systems and people analytics. And now we're seeing a trend where businesses are having a separate kind of HRIS team and a people analytics team. And there's a big drive for the people analytics teams to not just be reactive reporting, which has historically quite often been the case, but they've been quite focused on actually driving analytics and insights and presenting those to stakeholders. And kind of the better adoption of tech means they can spend less time kind of number crunching and actually storytelling. And I think that's the key skill that employers are looking for from candidates, is that they can actually present the story, and they've got that analytical mindset. They can work well with data, but ultimately they've got the stakeholder management and communication skills as well. It's still a relatively newish market as well, the people analytics space. So I think what we're seeing is employers exploring different options of candidates. So for example, they're looking at HR generalists that have an appetite to do a lot of reporting analytics, and they've got kind of transferable skills, which an aptitude for working with data and analytics. And then they step into a dedicated people analytics role and move into that space. Or we see a lot of general kind of business analysts that haven't necessarily touched on an awful lot of HR or people data, but have an interest to do so, and they're moving into those roles because, yeah, ultimately there's still a bit of catching up to do in terms of the volume of dedicated people analysts in the market. But I think for me, I think that's one of the most exciting areas of growth in HR at the moment. And we're just seeing so many businesses set up their kind of first people analytics team and growing it out. So yeah, really exciting times ahead.